Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, The College Process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep, and today we're going to be going over, is a 2.9 GPA really that bad? But before we begin, if you are new to the channel and looking for additional college content, please hit the subscription button down below. It will notify you when new videos do come out, as well as if you have any questions on this video, really any video we have here on the entire channel. Any questions you leave here on the channel, every Friday I go back, look at all your questions, and then answer them in video format, and then put them back on Friday, answering all your questions in detail in video format, so all you guys have all your answers to all your questions. So that being said, once again, we are still running the James Russo Memorial Scholarship. If you are interested in our scholarship program here at Principia, very simple, just watch the James Russo Memorial video. In the description down below is the video explaining how our scholarship program works here at Principia. As well as also down below in the description is also our organization's Venmo, as well as our Buy Us a Coffee, if you want to help support the channel, allowing us to keep making these college videos for you guys out there. And all that being said, let's jump right into today's video. Is a 2.9 GPA really that bad? Now, before we begin the entire video explaining the 2.9 GPA situation, I'm going to tell you guys right now, right off the bat, I'm going to be going in two different directions here. I'm going to be talking about what a 2.9 is like in high school, trying to apply to college, as well as what a 2.9 GPA is when you're in college, when you decided where you want to go. Now, right at the bat, let's first start off by explaining what a 2.9 GPA is. Because in the world of high school, essentially, a 2.9 GPA means a million different things depending on where you're coming from. So we first have to start off with what the metric actually means, the distinction, so then everyone's on the same page. Because as a college advisor, I work with a lot of high schools, and I've seen GPAs anywhere from the 0 to 100 scale, from a 0 to 4 scale. I've seen 5.5 scales, 8.5 scales. So out of the scale GPA specifically, out of let's say 100, so your school does 0 to 100 GPA as far as grading, we're talking about roughly around 79. If we're talking about letter grades, A, B, C, D, we're talking about basically a C+, and then obviously from a 4.0 scale, we're talking about the 2.9 here. So that's the metric we're working with here in the video format. And with that being said, let's start off by talking about freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year, basically the impacts of having a 2.9 cumulative GPA. So as your student goes through every year, essentially, what happens if you stay at a 2.9 GPA, or in worst case scenario, fall below a 2.9 GPA? Right off the bat, let's talk about freshman year. Now, when it comes to freshman year, ending freshman year in high school with a 2.9 GPA is not a terrible situation. It's not a great situation, but it's not a terrible situation from this point of view. Almost every college your students will be looking at, whether it's a 2-year college, 4-year college, any 5-year programs, etc. All the colleges look at the freshman year as basically a starting point. The first time the student is in a more rigorous program, academically speaking, getting used to the format of high school and the whole basically aspects of high school itself. So the reality is, having a 2.9 GPA in freshman year as you finish high school in freshman year is not that big of a deal. It's not great, but it's not dire at this point in time, because obviously in sophomore year and junior year, if you increase that GPA over the years, then you're okay to have, let's say, a 2.9 freshman year and a 3.2, 3.3 sophomore year, then a 3.5, 3.6 junior year. Then that's obviously the progression up. That's what they're looking for. So starting with a 2.9 at the end of freshman year, while it's not great, it's not the end of the road. You still have opportunities to get to higher level schools. There will be a lot more work involved, though, to get yourselves obviously above that 3.0, which is a critical number here, which I'll talk about in a moment. Let's talk about second year, obviously the sophomore year. What happens in high school if you end sophomore year with a 2.9 GPA? Well, at this point in time, you're kind of getting into murky waters. Because now with 2 years of high school done, the tricky part is if you have a 2.9 GPA or below, you're dwindling your chances of being able to be eligible to get higher classes. The APs, the honors, the college prep, the IB, the dual credit courses, they're starting to dwindle the opportunities of getting into those school classes because of the fact that if you're not doing well enough at a regular class, it's very likely the high school guidance office, whoever does the scheduling at your school, is not going to allow you to go to the higher level courses which are needed for any opportunity for high level schools, in some cases for name brand colleges. So a 2.9 GPA cumulative after sophomore year, you're starting to eliminate the opportunity for rigorous courses in high school to even allow you to apply to high level schools. Also with a 2.9 GPA after sophomore year, you're already starting to eliminate a bunch of the colleges out there you can even consider applying to. You've essentially eliminated the top 20% of colleges out there because you've already essentially solidified yourself of not having over 3.0 GPA. So at the end of sophomore year, 2.9 or below, you're in big trouble as far as being able to apply to any college you want to. Now with that being said, let's talk about a 2.9 GPA cumulative after junior year. With this in place, unfortunately, since most schools are not going to be looking at your senior year courses or grades for acceptance to that college, because most admissions offices look at the first 3 years, freshman, sophomore, junior, you essentially solidify the 2.9 situation. Making matters worse, of the 4,000 or so colleges out there, you've essentially limited 60% of those schools. Now you might be thinking, well, Ed, there's 4,000 colleges out there and I still have a chance at 40%. I should be okay. And the reality is it's not. I hate to be the bad guy, but even though there's roughly around 4,000 colleges out there, if you're looking at, let's say, 1,600 colleges left for me to be able to consider, then a few hundred of those schools are online colleges, like Phoenix Online. Then a few hundred of those schools even left over are the community colleges you're looking at, or trade schools, or specific schools for a certificate or a career path you might even be interested in. So realistically, you're not looking at 1,600 colleges, the 40%. You might be thinking that's what the math says. You're really looking at around a few hundred schools, maybe 250 to 300 specific colleges you might be able to consider applying to that would even consider you with less than a 3.0 GPA. And one way of looking at it is just looking at any name brand school, any high level school that you're considering, look at the amount of applications they have coming in. Every year they get record numbers, and every year they're getting record numbers of applications, that basically means that increases the level of GPA required. And the level of GPA required has roughly been a 3.0 for any name brand schools in any part of the United States for about a decade now. So getting to that 2.9, even though statistically a 2.9 and 3.0 are the same, you have to remember there's a human being looking at your application. When a human being sees a 2, they don't see 2.9, they just see a 2. 2 point whatever it may be, you're not at the 3 or above, we're probably not going to consider you. So the reality is, if you're at 2.9 or below in high school and you're looking to go to name brand schools, distinction, or schools that are more competitive to get into, you cannot be at 2.9. It's just not going to work out, unfortunately. So that's the high school perspective. Now let's look at it from the college perspective. Now from the college perspective, it depends. And this is what I mean by it depends. Now let's just say that you got into the college you wanted to get into. It was your dream school, or maybe let's say you got a scholarship as well. Now let's say the scholarship requirement is a 2.75 or 2.8 or 2.9. Then it really doesn't matter, to be honest with you, if you just coast by because all you want to do is graduate from that college with that degree and get a job. If you have a 2.9 GPA, as long as you're above the scholarship requirement and you're not looking at grad school, then it really doesn't matter. If you get a 2.9, a 2.8, a 2.7, as long as you maintain the scholarship requirement and you're able to pass your courses and get in and out in 4 years and then start your career path, it doesn't matter if you're a 2.9. That's the one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is, it depends on your situation, obviously, as I mentioned before. Let's say your GPA requirement is a 3.0 to maintain that scholarship, and you end freshman year with a 2.9, or you end sophomore year with a 2.9 GPA cumulative, you're going to lose that scholarship. And the problem with losing scholarship money, especially in the colleges, the higher end colleges, and I don't mean higher end is more difficult to get into, I mean higher end like cost-wise. These schools, losing a scholarship could mean tens of thousands of dollars, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over the 4-year time frame. So losing a scholarship in college is a huge detriment, which you don't want to fall into by basically a 0.1 of a GPA scale. Also, if you're considering grad school, medical school, if you're considering an MBA, if you're considering dental school, vet, pre-med, pharmacy, any of these programs, they're all going to require you maintain above a 3.0. So a 2.9 GPA going into any graduate program is basically the death nail, because of the fact that when it comes to applying to grad school, the one factor they look at the most is your GPA. In addition to that, some majors, especially the more difficult majors, engineering, pharmacy, occupational therapy, nursing, all these programs have become hyper competitive in the sense that if you get less than a B, a 3.0 or above in any of the specific requirements for that major, any of the sciences, the labs, etc., if you get less than a 3.0, even in one semester, many of the schools will throw you out of the program. So when it comes to high school or when it comes to college, it's all perspective. If you're just looking to go to any random college, then having a 2.9 in GPA in high school really doesn't matter. But if you're looking to improve your opportunities of getting into higher level schools or getting into a dream school or a name brand school, you better have above a 2.9 GPA cumulative, or it's just not going to work out. It's becomes so competitive in the world of admissions. And when it comes to college, same scenario. If you're looking to just go somewhere, you already got accepted, you're in, you know your scholarship requires around a 2.9 or just below, and you keep maintaining a 2.9, then you're fine. But if you're looking to maintain a 3.0 scholarship, you better get the 3.0 because the 2.9 is going to lose your scholarship money. As well as if you're considering grad school, you better get that 3.0 or above, especially for higher level, more difficult programs to get into, because a 2.9 is just not going to cut it. And all that being said, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you guys have any questions, once again, leave them down in the comment section. I will take all your questions every Friday, put them into video format, put them back here on YouTube so everyone has detailed answers to any questions you guys ask, whether it's this video, as well as if you guys want additional help, one-on-one help. I do meetings with parents and students through Zoom, helping out with the college process of any sort, financial aid, admissions, essays, a whole gambit. So any help you guys need out there, just make sure to reach out to me. That's my cell phone number on the screen. The easiest way to reach me is by text message. I do answer back all my text messages within 24 hours. So if you need to sit down with me, you need more individual one-on-one help, I am available for consultations to help you guys out. And other than that, thank you for watching today's video. Once again, my name is Ed from Principia Prep.